Cheers, Rockets fans. Welcome to The Locker Line, an exclusive podcast from the home of the Rockets.
Whoa!
Sports Talk 790.
Rockets!
The Locker Line is proudly served to you by Carbox Clutch City Lager.
It is good!
Oh, yeah? Red Nation, get ready. Get ready. The Locker Line starts now.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome in to another new episode of The Lager Line, brought to you by Clutch City Lager of Carbach Brewing. As always, I'm your host, Ben Dubose, editor of USA Today's Rockets Wire, contributor to Sports Talk 790, the official flagship radio station of the Houston Rockets. Today, to talk about the newly released 2022 to 2023 schedule for your Houston Rockets, we've got a couple of executives from the team that had a little bit of something to do with both the schedule itself, but more importantly, that amazing release video that came out with it. We've got Julian Duncan, Chief Marketing and Strategy Officer with the Rockets, and Paul Suarez, Senior Director of Digital Marketing with the Rockets. Julian's been there a year. Paul, how long have you been with the Rockets?
I've been here. This will be my 19th season coming up.
Wow. So you are, don't want to say a lifer. And then Julian, you've basically just completed 1 year, right?
That's right. And before I get into that, I just want, Paul won't do this because he's super humble and super chill, but I'm going to do this, and I'm glad I got this platform to do it. I am so stoked to announce that Paul was recently promoted to Vice President of Digital Marketing at the Houston Rockets.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that. Well, thank you for correcting me. I was going by Paul's LinkedIn, but I don't think Paul is even, or his Twitter. I forget which one I looked up, but he hasn't even updated it yet.
My Twitter account, I haven't.
Listen, this is how humble dude is. I text, like, after he was promoted, I texted Paul. I was like, Paul, update your LinkedIn, man. Like, you earned this title. Like, you got to go ahead and put it out there. So I'm pumped that Paul has earned that recognition.
Yeah, I am too.
Spot where I haven't updated my bio because I've never logged into my own Twitter account. I'm always on the Rockets account. So.
Well, he deserves it. He's done so much engaging with especially the Twitter diehards over the past year, so he should certainly update his own. That's where I was getting the profiles from. But yeah, he's absolutely earned it. You guys have done amazing work when it comes to outreach to the diehard fans over the past year and making the most of this rebuild. And we'll get into that as this episode progresses. Generally speaking, we're going to be talking about the marketing and the promotions of the team as we gear up for the upcoming season. But I do want to start with a little bit of basketball talk, and the newly released schedule came out open on October 19th in Atlanta. Then the home opener is 2 nights later, October 21st against Memphis on a Friday night. Before we get to all the promotional angles, I want to start with the basketball. Is there anything that stands out to you guys about the schedule itself, or any games or matchups of interest that you're looking at?
Yeah, so this is going to sound cliche, but I'm really looking forward to the home opener because, like, number one, we get fans back in the building. Like, it's just it's been a long off season, and like I'm just ready to see people in the building. Of course, we're excited to see our new faces on the floor. And, of course, the guys, the returning young core that ended last season with such a bang and explosiveness and fun on the court. And then on top of that, we're going to have, Ja Morant in the building. So, he brings a lot of excitement and energy. So just kind of seeing all that on the floor at a home opener, I mean, it's going to be a blast. But then the other thing I'm excited about this season, too, I call it the Texas two-step. I just always want to just annihilate the other teams here in the state. So I'm excited about the tilts against Dallas and San Antonio, respectively.
Yeah, for me, it's nice that we have a really good week of Thanksgiving games. We also have a really strong week of spring break games where a lot of our fans are available to come, and even some out-of-town guests and things like that. But for me, as a basketball junkie, is that weekend of the Final Four and the first weekend of April. All of the world's eyes are going to be on Houston as a basketball mecca, and between those Saturday and Monday games, we play the Lakers on that Sunday, and that game's going to be hype. There's going to be all kinds of fun people in the building, and we play the Pistons on the Friday night before. I'm looking forward to most of that weekend.
It's going to be crazy.
For me, I look at it a little bit differently when you're in the relatively early stages of a rebuild. If this was a team like, say, 2018, in which you were trying to win a championship or had realistic expectations of that, you might look into individual stretches and see, wow, this is really tough, or this is awesome. This is a stretch where we can really make some hay. I think for me, with a rebuilding team that you're really looking to see growth and development, I really want to maximize those experiences at Toyota Center. And so for me, at a high level, I like the fact that the meat of the home schedule is in the middle, because I think the start of the year and the finish, you have a lot of road games. But honestly, from a Houston perspective, and Paul, we've talked about this ourselves in the past, that overlap with the Astros can be really tricky, especially early in the season when everybody in Houston hopes they're on another World Series run. It's difficult when you're the other team playing downtown and they're having, LCS and World Series games. And so this stretch where you start 10 of 13 on the road, it's, I believe, tied for the most in NBA history through 13 games. It's rough, but at the same time, it allows you to really maximize your home games around the holidays. You've got 2 after Thanksgiving back to back. You've got a bunch. I looked up the December schedule is amazing. So there's a 7-game homestand that starts on December 11th, and then the team doesn't play a road game until December 26th. So you want to talk about home for the holidays. They literally do not have to leave Houston for the 2 weeks leading up to Christmas. Like, it's pretty nuts. And then you've got, in general, I think 34 of 57 games in the middle part of the season are at home. So you really maximize having a lot of games in the middle part of the season. It's something to do during the holidays. Obviously, you've also got, beyond Thanksgiving and Christmas, you've got your traditional New Year's Eve game. You've got one on January 2nd, which will be a holiday this year, I believe, since New Year's is on a Sunday. So you've really maximized that holiday time. And then there's a lot of games both to start and to finish the year on the road, with the exception of that Final Four weekend. But that's not really the end of the world, because, again, it's sort of tough in Houston with the overlap with the Astros, given how well the Astros are playing these days. So to me, just from an overall broad timing standpoint, it works out pretty well that you can sort of maximize the attention and the focus of people in Houston on the Rockets when they're in town, right?
Absolutely. And, it's the blessing and the curse of being in a city with so many sports options, right? Like, you have what we call like the perfect storm of sports, especially in that fall time frame, right? Football in Texas, right? We're back to that, whether it's our friends down the street or, college football. And then you've got baseball, as you said, and even for those sports fans that are looking at other sports that are not in the city, like you got the U.S. Open. Like there's a lot of things like that are tugging at sports fans' attention. But basketball is one of those things that we talk about it here at the Rockets. Is like, it's probably right there with soccer in terms of being one of the most democratic and accessible sports in the world. And it's like it's always on. There's never a time when basketball is not on. So we just want to keep the momentum going, even during that glut of sports during fall. We're just going to keep the momentum going from the end of last season through what our guys did at Summer League, through us having some fun with schedule release, and we're gonna keep pushing it through the fall and into the winter. We're not gonna be quiet by any stretch. You know what I'm saying? We're looking at a great opportunity to cut through the noise in some special ways.
Well, we need some content at Rockets Wire too, so we appreciate that. I was telling Paul before we started recording, that video is pure gold, because it's really great to get us some content through the doldrums, because, barring an unexpected transaction or two, I would say mid-August to mid-September is the quietest time on the NBA calendar from a traditional perspective, just because there's not really too much going on, and a lot of guys are taking their vacations before the season really gets going in late September with training camp. Obviously, you guys can't take vacations because this is sort of the busy time of the year for y'all when you're gearing up for the release of everything. But at least for the players on the court, the coaches, a lot of them are sort of taking it easy. So yeah, we appreciate the content. The other
there
thing
was an old campaign from Nike back in the day. Nike had this campaign. It was during the lockout, and it was I think it said "Basketball never stops," and that was basically our mantra at the end of last season. it was like there is no taking our foot off the gas. Like we have great stories to tell. We got a lot of content to push out, and we want people to be thinking about basketball all year round.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's an opportunity here too, since we talk about all the other sports in town, but honestly, at the end of August, it is a little bit quiet in terms of football hasn't started yet. Baseball, a lot of people are waiting for the postseason. So yeah, it's a good time to sort of be creative with content and drop, because you can get a little bit more engagement than you might think, at least for the next 2 or 3 weeks. As far as the schedule, one follow-up question to that I've always had is about the process of actually putting it together. Obviously, the league office does that, but at the same time, it is tricky because nearly every NBA team's home arena, and certainly at Toyota Center, has a lot of things besides basketball going on. You've already got concerts booked for months. What is that process like of, I guess, letting the league office know what dates aren't available? Is there any back and forth, like when they give you guys an initial draft and then you have to sort of tell them, hey, this is going to be a conflict, this doesn't work? How does it work logistically in terms of actually putting these dates together and making sure that they're okay for the building?
Yeah, so I'll take that one. And you basically hit the nail on the head, right? So the lines of communication are wide open with the league. They do take the lead on crafting the schedule. But as they do so, they stay in touch with us here at Toyota Center. We have, a team that handles all of the booking of the shows and everything like that. And so, as we move through that process, we let them know about where there's any conflicts and whether something is, contractually immovable. And then, they help us to kind of sort that out. So you basically hit the nail on the head with the process.
And does everybody get like 1 or 2 points of emphasis? Like, for example, with the Rockets, you guys have clearly prioritized the New Year's Eve home game over the years. And personally, I really enjoy it. It's something extra on those games. Is that something that most teams can do to just sort of work around and say, hey, this date is important for us? Obviously, there's no guarantees. The league office sets the schedule. But can you you mentioned the lines of communication being open, just sort of point to things like that and say, hey, this is something that if possible, we really, really want to do?
Based on me being here for a year and still learning about the ins and outs of things and how things get, that's basically been my observation. But again, everybody can't get exactly what they want. So there's some trade-offs and some push and pull, give and take. And I don't envy the schedule makers at the NBA for having to take, 30 different inputs on top of trying to manage, the overarching rhythm of the game and the schedule on that end. So, it's trade-offs and pushes and pulls, and again, the communication really does help with getting us to a really good end result.
I think what people don't realize is that it absolutely happens pretty quick. Within 7 days, we go from a draft to a final schedule and we go. So it's not a whole lot of back and forth. It might be 1 or 2 rounds and then we get it. So
I'm guessing the preseason, by the way, is pretty much a relationship business. One of the things that really stands out about the 4-game preseason slate, it's almost the complete opposite of a year ago. The home games this year are the Spurs and the Raptors. That's where you went in the preseason a year ago. The road games, one of them is Miami, which is a team that came to Houston. Oh yeah, that was the infamous 9 p.m. tip-off on the day of Astros Game 1 of the ALDS last year. But it seems like the preseason, since it's less structured, it's more about, hey, you have the relationships with these teams, and somebody comes to Houston one year, and then the next year maybe you visit them as sort of a trade-off. Is that sort of how it works?
Yeah, I think you got it right. The building side handles a lot of those things, and our PR team as well, and that's where that gets done.
Okay. So I want to talk about the fun stuff, which is the schedule, and particularly the video that accompanied it, because Rockets fans, well, we had some clue that something was coming because you guys dropped the pictures the day before. But just absolutely amazing 7 minutes of meme gold with this. It is a schedule release video, and we've seen the concept. I believe I first started seeing it in the NFL but you've got certain dates in the background, and of course at the end of it there is a much larger version of the full schedule chronologically that runs. But it's almost like a mini movie that you guys put together, starring Eric Gordon, Josh Christopher, the 3 recently drafted rookies, Jabari Smith, Tari Eason, Ty Washington. You've got Steven Silas. You've even got Rafael Stone making a cameo. You've got several guys and broadcasters on Zoom. You even got John Lucas pointing the camera at his chest. So many.
Clutch is in the building.
Yes. So many amazing things with that video. So much meme content for days, for weeks. In the case of Eric Gordon, the meme god for years, adding that don't put anything stupid on Twitter meme to the collection for sure. Very creative, reviewed incredibly well from just me initially scrolling through y'all's mentions about it. I guess I'll start with, where did all of this begin? Whose idea was it, and when did you think that you might have something with this?
So I think the thing that we wanted to do was something different. We've never done anything like this, and we know and recognize the need to kind of connect our fans to our players. There hasn't been a whole lot of content with them centered in it previously because of COVID and whatever reasons, but now we got finally our first chance to really dig in with these guys and do something fun. The process started actually about 5 weeks ago. We had a first meeting and we're like, what are we going to do? And then at that point, it's really for guys like me, is just kind of get out of the way and let the young guys work. We have a really talented and young, hungry staff on the video content and social media side that is really in tune with our players. They're the ones that are traveling with them. They're the ones that are getting to know these guys. And, and then it comes to going to basketball ops and to PR and getting buy-in from the entire organization. And that's really what changed this time. We got, to get all those guys from Coach and Rafael to the players, it took complete buy-in from our PR department. Tracy Hughes does an amazing job over there with her team, and getting buy-in from those guys, and to the point where they actually wanted to be the ones doing this. We didn't even have to push them. They're like, we weren't constrained on time, anything like that. It was a really nice. They came with their own clothes, with their own recommendations for lines. They wanted more lines, this and that, and that was really cool. That was really, really cool to see. Something that we've never done before. So a lot of fun on that end.
For us, it was kind of like, I just kept hearing when they came to and pitched the ideas to Paul and me, I just kept hearing Kanye in my head, like, listen to the kids, bro. Listen to the kids, bro. And just let them do their thing. And what I'm most impressed by with this whole thing is how thoughtful the entire thing was. Yes, at the core of it is this cool piece of content. But if you think about it, they took the steps to not only do what you said, but they planted some of those images that the day before to kind of tease what was coming. And then at the very end, I don't know if you saw it, at the end of the credits, there's a paragraph that compels people, says, hey, if you saw all the Easter eggs and all the dates in the video, go take our quiz on the app. And if you get the questions right, you have an opportunity to win tickets to a suite or tickets to the home opener. So just that entire journey, being so thoughtful, I was really, really pleased and happy with. And shout out to the whole squad for getting after it.
Yeah, Paul texted me and told me to try out that quiz, and I did. And that quiz was hard. My God,
it was hard.
Yeah, you had to go back and look at all sorts of just detailed things in the background. And that's really one of the more amazing things about it, is the production value. This was something that was not just thrown together. You can see the attention to detail, because I really had to watch it 3 or 4 times to fully get a hold of everything that was happening. When I watched it the first time, I was focused more on the storyline and just the broader takeaways. It wasn't until I watched it the second or third time that I noticed all the little things in the background, like the fun meter with Eric Gordon in his office, which of course is a shout out to those of us on Twitter that have made a huge deal about Eric and the fun meter. And of course, Eric's kind of embraced that himself, which is great to see, a sense of humor on his part. And it's something that you could tell the attention to detail was there throughout. It was not something that was just thrown together in a day or two.
Yeah.
You can see that this was weeks of preparation and really just a ton of thought went into it. And we really appreciate it. I guess my first question.
And shout out to that office, by the way. That
Mhm.
office that EG was in, that was my office.
Oh, really?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And just before you keep going, there was a lot of attention paid to details as well as fan service. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So like with the whole, like the locksmith thing, like we didn't create locksmith. Rocket's Twitter created locksmith. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so, Jabari has embraced it. And so we found, the team found a cool and fun and clever way to work that in as not only just to kind of give Jabari some heft in the script, but also to salute the fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think what you guys don't realize is that we are following so closely to everything that the fans say. We have, I think, 4 people logged into our Twitter account at all times. We're reading every single mention, believe it or not. We actually do. We're following fans that might have something interesting to say or some interesting feedback. It's the Twitter fan, man. It's what it's all about. It's the way to
That's what it
connect with an
is.
organization when you may not even live in this country. We still have plenty of fans that we follow and talk to or hear from on a daily basis. And so Twitter's just changed the game. We can actually make everybody feel like they're part of the team.
For better or for worse, right?
For better or for worse.
I don't envy you guys the week after the draft when everybody was hounding you for content with the new draft guys. And of course, there's various rules and policies you got in place that don't even make it possible. But of course, people don't know that. And you've just sort of got to bite your tongue, if you will, and let people vent and then make the most of it when you can, right?
Yeah, it makes
it's
it way
all
more
it's all
fun.
love.
Yeah, it makes it way more fun when you get to put something out that we've been holding for a week and there's buildup from the fans. And hey, we know you guys want to see more. Trust me, we have it and we want to give it to you. And sometimes there's just things that we have to wait on.
Yeah.
But we're just here for y'all.
Anyway, the first question I really had about it sounds like that you knew 5 weeks before that you wanted to do a schedule reveal, something similar to what NFL teams have been doing. And Julian, I know you worked with the Jacksonville Jaguars, so certainly you were familiar with the concept. Did you know immediately you wanted to go with like the whole first day of school thing because you've got these rookies? Did that just slowly come out over time? Just how did you get from, I guess, the original concept to the actual execution and the script, so to speak, that you had in place?
What the finished product was absolutely nothing like what we started with. We literally we got into a room. We actually went down to the practice court for a meeting with, like I said, our social and video content teams. And we just started watching NFL schedule releases to get a little bit of inspiration, even some from other sports and things like that. And I'm not even going to go into some of the thoughts that we had. They were pretty wild. Some of the requests that we were going to make. I mean, we went into this with like an open mind of, let's just ask for it. Let's see what we can get. I mean, there is no wrong answer. There is no. We had some tracks that we wanted to go down. Maybe we go down those another day, but ultimately this is where we landed. We really just wanted to showcase our players and make them feel relatable to our fans and get them out in front of them.
And if you take a look at some of the other schedule release videos across the league, that is one of the things that separates our body of work from everybody else's, is that we put our athletes out there. Shout out to them for being down to participate. Like some of the other ones, like I don't know if they didn't have access to the athletes or if just the concepts didn't lend themselves to integrating with them. But like that's a big differentiator between our content and others. As well as the fact, and this is one of the things that actually scared me initially, but it wound up working in our favor. It's so long. It's literally like a mini movie, and most other ones are like anywhere from like a minute to 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And
but because
the team, it was over 7, and because the team took such painstaking detail and poured it into it, like it doesn't feel like 7 minutes when you're watching it because you're sucked in and you're like looking for the next Easter egg and the next date and what's Josh Christopher going to do here, and wait, what did Eric Gordon say and what's on the wall behind him. It doesn't feel like, and it was a strategic move that the team made that really paid off for him. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, it really snowballed. We only originally had a couple of guys in it, and then word got kind of around to the, spread around through the team, and guys started to come to us and be like, "Hey, we'll take some lines. We want to do something." Like that was the fun part.
Hey,
Yeah,
Paul, tell them about Eric.
Oh, Eric actually asked for more lines. He came, he's like, "Oh, come on, give me a little bit more." And he's like the big brother on this team, and those guys really look up to him. So once he bought in, it was pretty easy after that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about. Eric had so many like classic lines in this, and at face value, it seems so difficult to get NBA players, especially veteran NBA players, to really buy in on a project like this that's so off the wall. But it sounds like Eric was sort of, and I guess it's just his personality. He is very relatable. It sounds like he bought in fairly early, and maybe that's what helped everybody else get on board too.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That led to more folks wanting to jump in on the Zoom call. It was originally going to be one broadcaster, turned into all of them. Like Coach Lucas and Murph got involved. I mean, even Coach
Was
Silas bringing it home was everything.
Yes, Coach Silas with the shades. I died laughing. That was the one time that I genuinely just started cracking up watching when they do the slow mo of him going on, then he does the smile and taking the shades off. Oh my God!
And
Yeah,
you gotta peep Coach Silas too, because he always has on some crispy J's. So like we did
oh yeah.
his Jordan game is on another level. And the last thing I'll say about it is um internally, I'm gonna bring everybody behind the curtain for just a quick second. We have a mantra that we call
Mhm.
one team. So, we all work together as one team, whether it's on the business side or the basketball side. And that's what you saw with Eric and Coach and Rafael. That's the culture that permeates the building. And when it comes down to us coming to basketball with a wild and crazy idea, this is what you get. It's a one team approach. They understand the importance of connecting to fans. They understand, this younger generation especially understands the importance of using social media to have fun and to entertain.
Mhm.
And that one team philosophy and culture really took over and helped us to get this thing over the finish line.
One last point on Eric. We talk about this a lot from a basketball perspective, the value of him being sort of a veteran influence on the younger guys. And Rafael has said that himself as far as why the Rockets see value in retaining him. There's certainly people that say, why don't they look into moving him for more young players that fit in? And Rafael's pushed back a few times saying, no, the young players. And I think it was KPJ that really had a detailed answer towards the end of last year. It was actually right after the trade deadline, talking about how important Eric is to him as a person and to the team, just what being around him every day does. And it feels like clearly this is not basketball, this is marketing, but it's much the same vein in that to have a veteran that's as accomplished as he is, that I believe he turns 34 later this year, and yet is willing to do something like this, just something fun, lighthearted, but it's clearly in the best interest of the organization, and it helps to get other guys on board as well. That's just one of those little intangible things that makes him fun to have around, right?
Yeah, he's really helping build a culture. I mean, it's an entire new mindset after the years where we won and got close, and it's just something really exciting, and he's been fluid enough to jump on board with it, and that's really cool to see.
And it
I'm not
shows
gonna.
that he gets the bigger picture too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna lie, when you leaked those photos the day before and I saw Eric at the conference room, I was trying to wonder what the theme was before we knew it was the first day of school, which the first day of school does make sense when three of the stars are your recently drafted rookies. But I was always wondering if you were going for like an office theme with Eric as Dwight Schrute or something like that, because I couldn't put together, what is exactly happening here, because it's in the offices at Toyota Center. And then, then when I saw Jabari go in, I was like, oh, first day of school. Okay, that makes sense. But with Eric, he's got a nice sense of humor that can work with just about anything. As far as the young guys, I want to ask about them too. They don't really know NBA culture yet. So in some ways they're easier to mold, but I'm sure also there's a little bit of uncertainty with regards to, you have guys all the time that are sort of in their ear about what's right for their branding and whatnot. How much trouble or not at all did you have getting those young guys to buy in, and what are they like to work with just in terms of their personalities?
Yeah, it was actually pretty easy. I mean, these guys are all 21 or younger, and they've never experienced life without a phone in their hands. So they know that this is the way the world works now, and so that wasn't a hard part at all. And they even wanted to collaborate. I know Josh Christopher wanted to. We had his cubicle decorated out. He brought his own stuff to put in there because he wanted to
Ooh.
make it more about him and more about how his vibe is and everything. So that was the easy part, to be honest. They really are into this stuff.
And it's a testament to the culture that Rafael and Coach Silas are building in the locker room, right? Sorry to be again cliched, like one team, like that's a true cultural mantra of ours that starts at the top. And so when you have the leadership, Coach Silas and Rafael, emphasizing that not only on the court but also off the court, it helps. It helps with that as well. And to Paul's point, like they're fun. Like the guys in the locker room are fun, and whenever we can put fun things in front of them, they respond. And one last thing, Paul's team has done a tremendous job of embedding and ingratiating themselves in the locker room as well, like establishing that trust with them, because we've got, we're as much as those guys have phones in their hands all the time, they always have cameras in their faces too. And half the time, those cameras are our cameras. So they know that we're here to help them out, and that we're not going to put them in a situation that's going to make them look whack.
Sure. And
Yeah.
earlier that same day, well, the video was not put together literally that day, even though, of course, it does say Wednesday, August 17th in the video. But earlier that day in real life, you had those guys out at Silvercrest Elementary in Pearland for the first day of school. Jabari went on the PA. And, of course, I'm sure all the kids at that school seeing those three newly drafted Rockets getting free tickets to the preseason opener was a great thing. But it also told me that those three guys are really taking this offseason seriously, that they're in Houston. They're clearly wanting to be a part of the organization on multiple levels. In this case, they're working to do things on a not just a basketball level or marketing, but in this case, for the broader community as well. What does that say about them in terms of their drive and their I guess, commitment that immediately, just weeks after being drafted, they seem like they're in Houston all the time and wanting to do things with the organization?
Well, I think the first thing, it just reminds you that, hell, these dudes were in high school not that long ago themselves. You know what I'm saying? So, like, they're not that far removed from that world. And
Yeah.
I think that now that they've crossed over that threshold, they understand the power of their presence and the power of their influence. They know that these kids look up to them, and they know what it means to have somebody of their stature come shake a hand, give them some dap, give them some a pat on the back and say, hey, good luck this school year. So I think it's a testament to these guys and them really understanding the power of their platform. And then the other part is, Houston's a great place, as we all know, and it's a great place to be an athlete. And this city respects not only a winner, but people that work hard. You know what I mean? And these guys and people that do their part to really embrace everything that Houston is all about. And our team, they get that. And so that's why you're going to see them out in the community even more. These guys are looking for the best place to get barbecue and the best place to get Tex-Mex and the best place to get sneaker. They're looking to really figure out what Houston is all about. So seeing them at an elementary school on the first day of school, like, that's who they are. That's what they do.
Yeah, I think I've noticed that as someone that works a little bit on the radio side with Sports Talk 790, there is a slightly higher fan engagement, especially in Houston, with the guys that are drafted. I think that's something that's a little bit unique relative to at least the second half of the 2010s when the Rockets were so focused on free agents for understandable reasons. You're looking for veterans to fit around a contender, but because they were constantly making deals, Rockets basically didn't have any high draft picks for 5-6 years, I believe. Really, like Clint Capella in 2014 was the last impact one until the last couple of years. And while I think fans certainly like contending, they also like having these guys around that basically start from the ground up. And you're seeing these guys that get drafted into the Rockets 19 and 20, and they're sort of just really growing up in Houston as part of the community. And I think that sort of resonates with the fan base here as well, just because Houston's so tight-knit. There's a lot of diehards. And so while plugging veteran free agents around a contender is certainly fun, I'm not going to say that there weren't justifiable reasons to be excited about guys that have come here in the past. At the same time, there's also, I think, a different kind of excitement, and you can see it resonating with some of the people in the community with starting with these guys at the ground up and letting them build. And I think that's where
100%.
we are now. I want to spin things a little broader with regards to the overall marketing and promotional push that you guys are doing. We talked about the video the last 20 minutes or so, which was absolutely amazing, but really the video is just the culmination of, I would say, at least a year or so of really hard work during this rebuild that you guys have put in to engage with the diehards. You think back to last season, it started with the party suite, which was absolutely amazing that you guys had a lot of Rockets Twitter diehards, including myself, in that suite for the night. It was incredible, not just for the Rockets against Oklahoma City. Rockets won that game big. We also got to stay like 2 hours after to watch the end of Astros Red Sox Game 6 when the Astros won the American League pennant. Just an incredible experience in the Toyota Center party suite. And then throughout the year, there were so many things that you guys did for us. Ticket giveaways, social media night, the engagement opportunities. And the way I look at it, it's making the most out of a different situation. The Rockets, the previous 15 years, never really bottomed out, besides just the overall contention years with Tracy and Yao and then the James Harden era. Even those 3 years in between, the Rockets were sort of 41 and 41, middle of the pack, number 9 seed. You didn't have a full-fledged rebuild. Now you've got the full-fledged rebuild. You also had some of the COVID factors last year. So it is what it is. There's some excess ticket inventory, and you guys really maximize that as an opportunity to engage with the fan base. And that's sort of how I see this video, because the video has so many references that people on the outside probably don't. Well, number one, they might not notice, and two, they probably don't understand the Eric Gordon fun meter on the wall. But to your diehards on Twitter, it is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
How important is it, I guess, especially given the context of the rebuild, to really engage with the diehards in a time like this?
Well, I'll jump in, and Paul, you hop in too. I agree with you that it's critical to engage the diehards, and that's exactly what we intend to do and continue to do. But we also look at this as an opportunity to have a first handshake with a ton of folks in the Houston area, because, like, if you think about it, we got a market of, like, I think the greater Houston, like, metroplex and sprawl is somewhere between like 7 to 7.5 million people. Like, it's insane. And Toyota Center can only hold 18,000 on a given game night. And so we'd be silly to think that everybody in Houston has been to Toyota Center to come watch, to take in a Rockets experience. So we're making it a point to, like you said, engage those people that have been with us from the beginning, the Twitter, Rockets Twitter, and our family there, and the diehards, as you call them, and long-term season ticket members. But we also want to make sure that folks that maybe haven't been to a game historically, or maybe who thought season tickets were out of reach, let them know that, like, yo, no, we're here. We've got something for you, and we're here to entertain you and put a great product on the floor. And some of the other things that we're doing too is we're just having fun with different experiences and different themes. So, like last year, as an example. So, fun fact about me: from a movie standpoint, if you put a laser, a sword, a lightsaber, and some magic in, like, you got me, right? So, like, when I got here and I found out we were doing Star Wars night,
Yeah,
I was like, yo, I am all in. And so we're using culture as an opportunity to have a first handshake with a lot of people that historically maybe would not have considered coming to a Rockets game. So it's balancing the conversation with the diehards as well as people that have never had an opportunity to take in a game. Paul, is there anything you want to throw in maybe on that?
Yeah, I think what people don't realize, it's not just Julian and the marketing team that's doing this too. This is coming from even higher than that. The Twitter suite was actually an idea from Patrick Fertitta, Patrick and our team president, Gretchen Shear, and Rafael. They're following on Twitter as well. They're paying attention as well. And so when they saw an opportunity to connect like that. We've done things with draft parties and brought meals out to folks' houses that are on Rocket's Twitter, and the Twitter suite, just another example of things of them reaching out and saying, let's take care of these folks because these are the fans that we're going to have for a long time.
And when we flew in Paulo Alves, one of the diehards from Portugal, for the finale of last season, when Patrick and Rafael went over to visit with them for like 30 minutes before the game, you would not believe the eyes and the expressions of those guys that were over there. I mean, it made their year. Right? It might have made their life in some cases, and that's just the kind of thing that really builds those connections. And I guess that's the right way to look at it, is building connections, regardless of if it's diehards, if it's new people that you're trying to get out to a game because you do have more opportunities than if the team was winning 65 games like they were in 2018. It's just using this as an opportunity to build those connections. And then hopefully a few years from now, when the team is really locked in on making a championship push, those connections are even stronger and those fans are with you in a lot of ways. By the way, on the Star Wars night, I'll also point out that that the Astros recently had their Stranger Things Day. Please consider a Stranger Things Day. That's my push for you guys. That would be absolutely amazing. Especially when I learned one of the main characters, Sadie Sink, is actually a diehard Houston sports fan, which I had no idea. I saw that a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, holy crap, there's an opportunity for you.
Stay tuned, Ben.
Yeah, no spoilers, but stay tuned.
Awesome. All right, well, I'm taking credit, even if it was already in the works.
Fine.
Anyway, let's talk about what's going to happen the remainder of the offseason. I think one thing I know that there's going to be some developments on is the jersey front. As a refresher for anyone that's not aware, with the league's current jersey contract with Nike and how it fits with the Rockets, there's 3 jerseys that are basically constant. You've got your red, your white, your black, which is icon, association, and statement. And then the other 2, the city uniforms, which last year were the pinstripes, the blue, and then some years you get a classic uniform. A couple of years ago, that was the 25th era of the 25th anniversary of the championship era. So you guys went with the throwbacks, but basically you have 3 constants every year that you can rotate between, and then 1 or 2 additional. So I know in the weeks and months ahead, you guys are going to have some news as far as the 1 or 2 additional for this coming season. I know you don't want to give away exactly what those are yet because there is going to be a reveal, but just in terms of general parameters, can you give us at least a little bit of insight on what's coming and what some of the considerations are with the jerseys?
Sure. So I think one thing that's important to note is that these processes around jerseys, these are long lead processes. Like the process to start on the pinstripe ones from last year began well before I got here. I think it's like a 24-month kind of
even
thing.
longer.
Yeah, even longer, right?
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of thoughtfulness and a lot of discussion and creative conversation that goes on between the NBA, the Rockets, and Nike. And so what we can tell you, look, we'll just break the news right here on your podcast, bro. Like we're going to bring back the pinstripes from last year.
There we go.
Because there was such great energy around that uniform. The fans really responded. And just as important, like the team absolutely loves them. Like Josh can't stop talking about, like he came by the office a couple of weeks ago and we were just having a conversation and he was like, hey, yo, are we bringing the pinstripes back next year? I was like, absolutely. So we need to make sure that he's a part of the content capture, Paul. But like, so we're going to be bringing that uniform back, and we'll be making some noise around that as we go into this season. Not at liberty to talk about anything beyond that, but we just know that we are always looking to have fun with our uniforms over here at Toyota Center.
So what else is coming from a content perspective? This is something that I believe is more in Paul's wheelhouse, but in terms of new content, you've had these documentaries over the last year, which have been really well received. You've had one on Coach Silas. You've had ones on Jalen Green's rookie season. You had one on Jayshawn Tate. I believe you had one on Kevin Porter Jr. And so I know that's something that, especially over the next month, it's a good time if anything like that drops, since there's not a whole lot else going on. But you've also got a ton of other things as far as obviously the schedule rollout that happened this week. You've got various ticketing promos. I know Gretchen's working on the official slogan. I'm guessing Light the Fuse will be retired and we'll have something else new. And just general like fan engagement strategies. I suppose some of these are, Julian, your purview as well. But just talk about what the next few weeks looks like in terms of Rockets marketing and what some of the angles you're working on are.
Yeah, before we get to Julian can address the bigger picture, I'll just talk a little bit about some of the content. This actually started during the pandemic. Everybody sitting at home a couple of years ago, we were trying to figure out a way to reach our fans without even being able to go into the offices ourselves. And we decided that YouTube was a place where we really wanted to make a strong emphasis. We have a really, really strong long form content team that started putting together these Rockets originals, which were looks and documentaries into the past. It actually started with Where Amazing Happened, which is a doc on YouTube. And then it kind of morphed into, now we have access to players. Let's turn it into these pieces called Rockets Originals. And our content team really takes a lot of time in capturing a lot of footage, combing through years of footage to put the Silas one together, for example. And the whole goal was to really kind of amplify our YouTube channel and make that a destination for content for Rockets fans. And that's actually paid off. We just passed 100,000 subscribers last month. And so it was really just about giving fans that are, sitting in their YouTube hole at 2 a.m, just like everybody else, and watching what video after video. Now you've got it coming. And so the next one's actually coming out is KPJ's. It's coming out here in September, and we're really excited about that. That'll be a fun story to tell before the season starts.
And just as an additional pat on the back to the team, I've been around the block before I got to the Rockets, and a lot of my colleagues from other stops hit me up often asking me, hey, your content, your videos, are you guys outsourcing that? I'm like, no, that's all in-house. So Rockets Twitter should be really, really proud of their team and their family over here at the Rockets, that great content, the great videos and the docs and all of that, that's all being done in-house, by your Houston Rockets. So you guys have a lot to be proud of there. But in terms of like other kind of touch points, this is a really exciting time. We're going into getting ready for training camp. So there's going to be tons of content and stories that fall out of that. We've got Media Day coming up, which is always a lot of fun. And we're pumped to have other, fan engagement and touch points leading into the season as well. So, we got some things that we're still cooking and baking, but just know that we're going to come out. We're coming out all guns blazing going into this season.
Yeah. Well, it's like I was saying earlier, for most of the NBA, at least the NBA that people think about, which is the players and coaches, this is sort of their quiet time of the year because a lot of these guys go on vacation, since once we get to late September, it's going to be all hands on deck for 7 months. But for you guys, it's one of the more busy times, right? Because this month leading up is when you're really getting all this marketing rollout ready to go, right?
Absolutely. And we're doing fun stuff too. Like one of the cool projects that we've got going on right now that I absolutely love is one called Clutch City Beats. I don't know if you guys have heard about that one, but so I used to be a DJ when I was in high school. And so when the team came back to me with this idea, I was like, yeah, let's go for it. Like we put out a call to the wild to all those talented musicians and producers in the city of Houston to send us what they think the sound of the Rockets should be going into this season. And man, the submissions that we've gotten back so far, there's some talented musicians here in this city. I mean, whether it's guys sending in trap beats or if they're blending hip hop with country and Western, I'm just like, my mind is blown right now. So we're going to be rolling that out before the season to, get it out in front of the Houston faithful, get everybody's feedback. We might even have a fan voting component to it. So, it's cool. It's a really cool project.
Yeah, and I think it's also something that potentially you can integrate with the young fans a little bit more. I think that's probably just demographically an opportunity. With a young team like this, you're possibly going to have a lot younger fans, and it fits in with the whole vibe of the squad as it currently is. I think back to you mentioned earlier, Jabari sort of rolling with the locksmith nickname, which is something that took off on Rockets Twitter, and he seems to be embracing it, which I like it too. But one of the funny things, after he was drafted by the Rockets, people were talking about all these potential nicknames for him, and one of the initial ones that was thrown out was Agent Smith. And Jabari went on his Instagram and basically said he didn't like that at all. And what's funny, people don't realize this, but when Agent Smith first started with the Matrix, I don't think Jabari was even born yet because he just turned 19. And so
That's right.
it's a different era. And so some of these promos that you do, like the Rockets beats, sometimes they might tie in a little bit younger demographically, but that's something that also sort of makes sense because it's, you're going to have some younger fans the way they're currently set up, and it also fits with the overall sort of vibe and culture of the organization right now, right?
100%. You hit the nail on the head.
Yep. And the other thing I'll point out, as far as the promos, I think you guys are also building some good karma because the last 2 years going into the draft lottery, you had these two promos as far as keeping it 100 a year ago, in which the special activated with the free jerseys if you got a top 4 pick, which you did. This year you had the I think it was easy as 1, 2, 3 was the name of it. But the same sort of deal, you get an extra perk. In this case, it's like an autograph signing. If the team got a top 3 pick, guess what? They did. And I looked up the odds. When you calculate what it would have taken to get a top 2 pick a year ago and a top 3 this year, it's like 11%, the odds of both of those happening in terms of the NBA's, flattened lottery odds, which I understand why, to disincentivize tanking. Regardless, though, it worked out well for the Rockets. And for you guys, I'm choosing to think of it as positive karma. You do something nice for the fans if the results go your way, and then you get some good karma in the form of Jalen Green and Jabari Smith. Is that a healthy way to look at it?
Yes, I would say
100%.
so. And that's part of where we're trying to take care of our fans too, give them more options in terms of ways to get to the arena. I think you'll see this year, instead of having the same old mini plans where you couldn't really change out games or anything like that, we're going to have customizable packages for fans to buy, and really just kind of fit in the way the consumer behavior has changed in the last few years.
All right, well, we're winding down now with Julian Duncan, Rockets Chief Marketing and Strategy Officer, and Paul Suarez, Vice President of, what's the new title?
Digital marketing, yes, sir.
Vice President of Digital Marketing. Okay,
Yes,
want to make sure I get that
sir.
right. Since that's not in my notes, I have the old title, Vice President of Digital Marketing. There we go. I want to wind down with just thoughts overall as far as how things are going. Julian, we can start with you because I know, you're a relative newbie. Paul's been here 19 years. With you, you're wrapping up your first year after coming over from previous stops, included Jacksonville Jaguars. We mentioned that. You worked at Nike too, right?
Yep. I worked at Nike for 10 years. My last job there was brand director for LeBron James.
Okay.
Left there after he won a championship. Then I went to Under Armour, where I was head of basketball. So I worked with Steph over there. Then Jacksonville, and then the good Lord brought me back home to Houston.
So with that as the backdrop, I guess,
Yeah.
number one, how do you think it's going as far as just overall thoughts on your first year? And then secondly, any message for the fan base that we haven't conveyed already as we're getting ready for this 2022 to 23 season?
Yeah. So for me, like being back home, place where I grew up, I went to Nimitz High School on the north side of town. I went to Rice University right up the street. I'm Houston through and through, right? Like my social media handles are JDH Town, for crying out loud. Like I'm just a Houston guy. And so to be back here at this moment, at this time, has just been phenomenal. To be at the beginning of this amazing journey that we're going in, I couldn't have written a better script. Being in the NBA has been an eye-opening experience. The pace, the intensity, it's so different than the world of the NFL and then the world of big brand. But it's something that agrees with me 1,000,000%. Like this has been a phenomenal ride, and I'm just so excited to be a part of this great organization. And for the fans, I mean, first of all, thank you guys for being there with us from the beginning. And we're on this journey right now, and we're building something really, really special. You've heard Rafael and Tillman and Patrick and Gretchen talk about it. Like we're on a journey to build a legacy of greatness. We're not trying to be a splash in the pan. We're trying to build something that's going to be lasting. and evergreen, and that's this culture of sustained success and winning. And we're doing it on both sides of the aisle. So come on this ride with us. Like get on the bus now. Like don't wait until like if you wait until we get down the road, it might those seats on the bus might get taken up. So go ahead and hop on now. We're here. You can reach us. You can touch us. And we appreciate everything that all the energy that the fans are giving us, and we're going to return it in kind.
Paul, you've been here 19 years, and I'll point out that when you first came in 2003, the Rockets had already gotten Yao, so the ascent was already underway. Really, I believe that second year they made the playoffs, then you got Tracy McGrady, and the rest is history. Never really had a rebuild. Did have the 1 year with like crazy injuries in 2006 that they ended up with a middle of the pack lottery pick. But other than that,
which we traded.
Yeah,
So
the Shane Battier, Rudy Gay trade.
Jalen was the first lottery pick we had since I got here.
Yeah. So it's a big change for you the last couple of years relative to the first 17. Just your overall thoughts on sort of where things are with the team, your excitement level for this process moving forward, and just what should fans be on the lookout for?
Yeah, I look at it as I've been with the team even longer than that. I'm also a native Houstonian. I was here and I lived here since elementary school, and they won championships when I was in high school. And that's the connection that I made with my own hometown team. To be able to work for my hometown team is something that's really special to me. And to use one of the phrases that Julian likes to use, we're trying to future-proof the franchise here. We making connections with people at the jump so that when we do have this team finally ascend to the time where we're contenders again, we'll already have lifelong fans. And so it's just about getting everybody excited about this new generation. I mean, what's not to be excited about? We've got such young talent, such a bright future ahead. Even for an old vet like me, it's exciting. I mean, we just came off of an era where we got so close, and I feel like we have a chance to do it again. And I think every fan should feel that. And that's what we're trying to bring to the table.
Outstanding. Folks, that is Paul Suarez, Vice President of Digital Marketing, newly crowned Vice President of Digital Marketing with the Rockets, and of course, Julian Duncan, Chief Marketing and Strategy Officer. Gentlemen, thank you so much for the time, and that's where we will wrap it for this episode of The Lager Line, as always brought to you by Clutch City Lager of Carbach Brewing. If you want more from me, you can follow me on Twitter at Ben Dubose. The Lager Line does not have a Twitter, but we do have a link tree, which you can find on my Twitter or at the Rockets Wire, which is the home for USA Today's Rockets Wire. And that's where you can find these episodes. You should also check out Sports Talk 790, where we've got all these episodes hosted, the official radio flagship of the Rockets. That'll do it for the plugs. Actually, no, it won't, because I do want to toss out Julian's Twitter handle, JDHtown, and then Paul's. I am looking it up as we speak. Paul, we've got to get you more on Twitter.
P-Swar. I know. Maybe I should log out of the Rockets account and actually get on my own for once.
And update your title, man.
I will. It's I've been logged into that account since we opened it, so it's a tough one to switch to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for jumping in and saving me. I wanted to toss out the handle. I was like, God, I can't even remember what it was. But anyway, all right, we got it. With that, we will wrap up. For Paul and Julian, I'm Ben. Thanks as always for listening, and please come back soon for another new episode of The Lager Line.
Go Rockets.